I bet you guys didn't know this, but the R in Sonic R stands for really good. Yep, that is how we're starting this one, and like I always say for the first time just now, if you're at the bottom of the barrel, there's nowhere to go but up. Unless, of course, the bottom of the barrel breaks, in which case you are descending farther and farther into the depths of Tartarus, but, you know, sometimes you just can't win. Hello everybody, I am Garrulous64, and if there is one thing a game series about fast rodents should excel at, it is racing games. I also accidentally wrote Axel like I was writing accelerate, so that's a pun in the script that no one else can see. I think I've talked about TSR in the past, but I can't really remember because I tend not to think about things that bore me. Remember how they teased that game with Sonic R's logo and then it ended up being nothing like Sonic R? That was cool. I'm sure it was a relief that it was yet another car-based racing game by Sumo Digital, and I was in the same boat until now. I'm sure you're wondering what changed my mind on this matter, and it's because I actually gave the game a chance as opposed to the times I just messed around with it briefly in the past. What a crazy concept. This is one of the two Sonic games made by Traveler's Tales, the other of course being Sonic 3D Blast, and if you were here last week, you know how that one turned out. At least I like one of the two, that has to count for something, right? I mean, people are gonna get mad at me no matter what my opinion is, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Also, one thing before we get started, you should definitely subscribe if you've been liking the videos lately, because I am only 500 subscribers away from the big 100K, and that's gonna sound pretty outdated someday, I hope. But right now, it's just exciting! But anyway, on to the show! For this video, I used the PC version of Sonic R and the Sonic R Mod Manager for a couple of sound and graphical fixes, but nothing else, because I ain't no cheater. I could have played the game as it was originally intended to be played, but I didn't really want to put 4x3 footage on screen in 2021. I'm not a caveman. That is going to bother exactly one person, and you know who you are, but it's just a joke. I'm sorry. The next thing I did was configure my controls according to Blaze Hedgehog's suggestions from his definitive Sonic R video, and from there I hit the racetracks. There are 5 courses in total in this game, and that would be Resort Island, Radical City, Regal Ruin, Reactive Factory, and Radiant Emerald. And while writing that part of the script, I noticed that all of those start with R because the game is Sonic R. My respect for this game just increased tenfold. You're able to select the levels in any order except for Radiant Emerald, but I just played them in order because I am boring. Resort Island is the first stage, and it shows you pretty much what you're going to be seeing throughout the rest of the game. There's some water in the stage you might fall into if you're not careful, and that hammers in the point that you really don't want to do that. See, when you fall into the water in this game, you don't drown or anything, or get, like, put back on the stage by Lakitu. It's just, you move incredibly slowly to the point where you're probably going to get lapped by the local snail population. Even when you're hovering above it using a character that can do so, you also move slower in most cases. So, just don't do that. Don't go swimming ever. It's bad. On the other hand, though, if you go off course, which in most racing games would be a bad thing, you end up finding things like secrets and shortcuts, and it doesn't cut your speed most of the time. So make sure you do explore, because it's important for some things later on. Radical City appropriately amps things up and feels like a good middle ground between Resort Island and Regal Ruin, which means playing the stages in order was probably a good idea, therefore meaning I'm not boring. Man, this is the best revelation of my life! This stage is a bit bigger and has a few more branching paths, which might trip you up at first. The CPUs are pretty forgiving as long as you don't have to spend 5 minutes making a 25-point turn down in the alleyway. This one's definitely my favorite stage out of the bunch because I dig the city theme, and it's really fun to just tear through this place at Mach 5, leaving nothing but devastation in my wake. Don't worry, everyone's perfectly safe. Regal Ruin was the first stage to actually give me a little bit of trouble here, and my usual cynicism was saying that this was probably going to be the point where I started hating the game. But even with a rocky start to this stage, I still managed to come in first on my first try. And that's not me flexing, it's just a fact. And the fact is,
I'm a Sonic R god.
there's just something about this stage's really tight corners you gotta turn, and some of like the jumping you gotta do that I wasn't a huge fan of. This is probably my least favorite zone. But it doesn't matter, because next we're talking about the level that's actually a really fun challenge for the right reasons. And that stage, of course, is Reactive Factory, the last of the base stages. Now this place is massive, and it has a lot of side areas that will really test your mettle if you're going for all the collectibles and still trying to finish in first place. Some of these things are so out of the way or will cost you so much time that you need to have like a really healthy lead in the competition before you even think about going after them. Hear me out, guys. Reactive Factory is pretty cool. Once you place first in every course that's available to you from the start, you're able to unlock this game's Rainbow Road, which is Radiant Emerald. We're gonna put up a photosensitivity warning just in case, so skip to this time if you have any issues like that. But anyway, Radiant Emerald, more like Eyesore Emerald, am I right? I don't know, I think it's supposed to be super pretty, what with its flashing colors and stuff, but it just comes off as really distracting to me. It's not a bad racetrack, it's just kind of boring, and the shortcuts cut out a lot of the twists and turns, making this stage really basic, and it doesn't feel like a really good reward, I don't know. Also, speaking of those shortcuts, I have to mention, I only compared this to Rainbow Road because of all the colors. It's not actually difficult at all. In fact, it's probably one of the easier stages in the game. But that ends the talk of stages, so now we must discuss shiny rocks and coins. If you made it to this point in the video and you haven't seen the giant mechanical doors all over the place, behold the giant mechanical doors from all over the place. The number at the top of the door dictates how many rings you need to open said door, and they usually lead to something like an emerald, a coin, or just a shortcut, which are all good things. But I would rather have one of the first two things. If that's okay with you, of course. I mean, you know, I'm willing to negotiate and everything, it's fun. The 50 ring doors usually hide emeralds, so shoot for those most of the time, and then make sure to finish in first place to claim your prize. There are 1 to 2 emeralds found in every single stage, aside from Radiant Emerald, which, seems like a missed opportunity to me considering the name of the zone. But, you know, you do you, I guess. Traveler's Tales. Some emeralds will just be sitting there when you open the doors, very easy to collect, but other emeralds will have an animation play where the emerald will have to appear before you're able to grab it, further increasing the chance that you are going to fall behind in the rankings. That feeds into what I said before about making sure you have a good lead before you go for these things, but there's only ever one stage where I finished in anything other than first place when trying to get one of these, and that was Reactive Factory for both of the emeralds there. That stage just really pulled the rug from under me. Collecting all 7 emeralds, of course, lets you play as Super Sonic yet again, and he is insanely overpowered. This guy's the fastest character in the game, he jumps pretty high, he's got great handling, and he can't sink in water like regular Sonic. He also has the benefit of being an almost perfect CPU player, which makes things a little bit scary when the sock's on the other shoe. The other characters are unlocked by collecting the 5 coins in each of the stages, but remember, you still need to come in first after you get them, or else the only thing you get is nothing, which coincidentally is what I feel when I record most of these videos. But not this one, I'm actually having a little bit of fun, because I like the game. Go figure. But if you manage to do all that, that brings this game's roster up to 10 playable characters, all with their own bells and whistles. As you might imagine, Sonic is all speed, and he's a little bit worse on the handling side, and he's sporting a double jump for perhaps the first time in his entire life. Tails, on the flip side, handles extremely well, so well in fact that he actually loops back around to being annoying to play as despite the power of flight that he maintains. Knuckles isn't as fast as the previous 2 characters, but he handles a lot better and he has his glide move, which lets you bypass a lot of obstacles in case you're having trouble with certain stages. Amy, I think, is actually the worst character in the game. Not only is she trying to turn her fellow racers into roadkill, which I'm pretty sure is not proper racing etiquette, but she's super slow, handles really clunkily, and she has like a boost mechanic, but it only works every so often when you have rings. And then she can, like, hover over water, but as I said before, it's just not worth it, just don't play as her. Sorry, Amy. Eggman is unlocked after you beat Radiant Emerald, and he is like a midpoint between, I would say, Knuckles and Tails in terms of handling. He also has a missile launcher that he can use to blow up the competition, and that is completely fine. I don't have any ill will towards that at all. Metal Sonic, of course, feels a lot like Sonic, except he's got a hover move. Tails' doll can fly, I think, either that or it's the Earth being so sick of his evil energy that just forces him off the ground momentarily. Metal Knuckles is just like Knuckles, except looks a lot cooler, and I think he kind of is a little slower, maybe handles a little worse, I don't know. And finally, we have Egg Robo, who not only looks amazing in this art style, but also has a gun that can just shoot people, much like Eggman does, and I don't think there's too much of a difference between those 2 attacks at all. I'm really glad for the variety in playable characters here, especially if you're playing multiplayer. You can pick, you know, like, you can have rival battles, like Sonic and Metal Sonic and stuff. But the problem with picking any of the characters to the right of Eggman is that every time you do, Super Sonic will be selected as one of your CPU opponents. This could have been done as some kind of like hard mode thing to show like, hey, you've made it to this point in the game, so you probably need a little bit more of a challenge. But if you think this creature of pure darkness stands even a ghost of a chance against this god of destruction, you would be less than correct. And also, since I haven't mentioned it yet, yes, the soundtrack is amazing. It just feels a little out of place for a racing game. But it doesn't really matter, because good is good, and I will listen to these songs till the day I die, probably. Probably not. They're pretty good, though. I'm just, you know me, drama queen. And that, my friends, is Sonic R, a game I thought I'd be sick of immediately upon booting it up, turned something that I've been itching to play even while I'm recording this video, which is a strange sensation, because typically I'm just itching to be done with these things forever. Who would have thought that Sonic R would be the thing to make my Sonic tolerance grow 3 sizes this day? Ooh. And that is really gonna put my previous statement to the test, isn't it? Why? The sequel, Sonic Y. Yeah, okay, that's the end of the video. I did like this game a lot. That wasn't like hyperbole or anything. I actually had a fun time. But anyway, if you made it to this point in the video, please let me know down in the comments, because I like to see who made it here. It's almost like you're in a little secret club. If you did make it all the way here, please... Oh, what do I say at the end of videos? If you did make it all the way here, and you like this video, please make sure you subscribe, click the bell, follow my Twitter, and join the Discord to keep up with more Sonic and other things that aren't Sonic, because I do a lot of things. I'd also like to give a huge thank you to my current supporters, who are Brady Hilkemeyer, Noah Wizboys, Mailman019, Kaido the Samurai, Danny Lee Dauber, Mike TGC, Chaotic Mercenary, Hooked Drago, Akira the Silencer, T-Bone APH, The 7 Superstars, Crystal, Ty Little Tech Guy, PM13, Crazy Sean DX, Chaos, Jeremy, Dork in a Hat, Mega Traffic Cone. And on Patreon, we have Noah Wizboys, T-Bone APH, and John the Real Waluigi. Thank you guys all so much for the support, it really means a lot, and also thank you to all the people in the $1 tiers, because even $1 helps and gets you access to things like blooper videos if I ever get back to making those. And if I do, they will all show up at some point, and there will be like 4 of them because I'm way behind. You also get access to some stuff in the Discord. I show off thumbnails, like the full resolution ones, and I just talk amongst things about videos and other things and streams. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.